We are really excited about today's session. We have a great lineup of organizations that are going to talk to you about the impact they're making in the world and how you can support that impact. And so just before I introduce our panelists to you, Colleen was going to put a poll up. We just wanted to get a bit of a gauge of how you're coming in today in terms of your volunteer experience. So are you just beginning to volunteer? Are you in the process of exploring possibilities, or are you actively contributing? We'd just love to get a bit of a gauge of where you're at. So we'll give that a moment. And
Heather, are you seeing the results or is it just me seeing the
I
results?
am, yep, no, I'm
Perfect.
seeing them. And so
Great.
hopefully everyone's seeing them. Yep. So yeah, I see we've got just over half our current or not quite participants who have answered. So maybe we'll give it one more minute just to see where they land. And it looks like there are a number of people here today that are actively contributing, which I will assume means they're engaged in volunteering in some way, which is great. Some at the starting gate, so we're thrilled that you're here and taking the opportunity to learn more. And looks like a smaller number that are just exploring a little bit. So hope that this will kind of tweak more opportunities for you to do so. Okay,
All right, I have ended that poll now.
perfect. Thank you, Colleen. Okay. So before we get the opportunity to hear from our panelists today, I want to give you a brief introduction to each of them. Then they're going to share with you, what their organizations are focused on, the impact they're making, sort of the nature of volunteer opportunities that they have, and we'll have opportunities for you to ask questions as well. So I'll talk more about that in a moment. But let me start with some introductions. First, I wanted to introduce Samara Rantawa from Ashoka. Samara leads Ashoka's new longevity initiative, which is dedicated to driving social innovation and systemic change to support better health, purpose, and meaningful contribution through all stages of life. Samara's got 19 years of experience working with leading social entrepreneurs across Ashoka specifically, and shared with me that her mission will be complete when everyone is a change maker. So yeah, lots of inspiration in that. So great to have you here, Samara. From Make-A-Wish, which an organization that many of you may already be familiar with, we have Melissa Davis. And appreciate the spotlight. That's helpful. Melissa is the Senior Manager of Volunteer Programs at Make-A-Wish, Illinois, where she leads a team that supports nearly 900 volunteers across Illinois that aid in wish granting, fundraising, and outreach efforts. Melissa is passionate about engaging volunteers and supporting Make-A-Wish's vision of reaching every child with an eligible condition. And she'll share more about some of the myths that might exist around that and what the truths are. And she shared with me some really interesting insight on how the wishes of kids differ across the globe. So that was fascinating. So great to have you, Melissa. From Wavemakers, we have Krista Pauley. So Krista is the co-founder of Wavemakers, which is very unique in that, look for her to be spotlit as well. Wonderful. So Wavemakers is unique in that they use virtual reality to provide work integrated learning experiences that equip students with the skill sets, mindsets, and networks to thrive in the future of work. Something we hear just a little bit about. We played with avatars once on one of our calls. Yeah, clearly nowhere near as good as yours. So appreciate meeting her as well. Krista describes her experience building Wave Makers as her own purposeful third act, so she knows firsthand what that's about. And that follows more than 25 years of experience shaping strategy and policy across the public, private, and social sectors. So she will give us share their unique focus with today as well. From ENGin, we have Erin Hogan. Looking at my screen, there I see Erin. So Erin is ENGin's Senior Manager of Volunteer Recruitment, and she's based in Atlanta, Georgia. She leads the effort to find and engage thousands of English-speaking volunteers who allow ENGin to continue to grow every year. So ENGin supports those in the Ukraine in advancing their English-speaking skills. So she'll tell us lots more about that. She brings tremendous care and passion to her work and continues to function as a volunteer herself, which definitely demonstrates the commitment there. So great to have you, Erin. Thank you. And then last but definitely not least, we have Ariel Galinsky from the Legacy Project. So Ariel is the co-founder and CEO of the Legacy Project, which connects younger and older adults for multi-generational friendship, storytelling, and in many cases, civic engagement. Ariel's just got a little bit on the go right now. She is a current Master's of Public Policy and Law candidate at the Harvard Kennedy School and Yale Law School. And she is strongly committed to advancing aging policy reform at both the state and national levels, which is based on her belief that intergenerational engagement is the tool to get there. So we are looking forward to hearing more from you as well. So that is a flavor for what you are in for today with our wonderful group of panelists. And so what I just want to share, we're going to hear from each panelist. They're going to give an approximately 5 to 7 minute overview of their organization, the impact they're making. And as I shared earlier, the nature of the volunteer opportunities that they're offering so you can have a flavor for them. We welcome you while they're talking to put any questions you might have in the chat. Once the presenters are done sharing their overviews, we'll have an opportunity for questions and we'll then follow that with some discussion. So you're welcome to put any questions in the chat. If, as each presenter is sharing, you have a burning question, something you don't understand, feel free to use the raise hand function. If anyone doesn't know how to do that, if you go to your React, if you click on the React at the bottom of your screen, you'll see that there's the option to raise hand, and that just makes it easier for me to find you on my screen so that we don't miss you. So I invite you to do that as the panelists are speaking. And unless there's any other comments at this point, I'm going to ask Samara to start us off and share a little bit more about Ashoka.
Thank you, Heather. Hi, everyone. Very good to be with you. I am going to share screen.
And actually, Samara, I'll just let you and the other presenters know that I will give you a 2-minute warning once you've hit 5 minutes, just so that we stay on track with timing, given that there's 5 of you, and we want to ensure that people get to learn about all of you.
Great. I will go quick. I have a video, so I'm going to leave a little bit of time for that. Good to be with you all. So Ashoka is a global nonprofit founded in 1980, and the insight in 1980 by Bill Drayton, our founder and CEO, is that the most powerful force for good is an innovative new idea in the hands of a social entrepreneur who is working for the good of all. And so he created Ashoka to do that, to find these social entrepreneurs across every area of need in society, and invest in them, build a community and identity, and a field of support. And so now we have Ashoka Fellows, we call them, once they're elected into our fellowship, in 99 countries. There are 4,000 and growing each year. We add about 100 new Ashoka Fellows, and they work on really, their solutions are designed for systems change. So the ideas are solving the root problems of society. So to know Ashoka, you need to meet a fellow. So I'll play a quick video. And the speaker is Ashoka Fellow Dixon Shabanda, founder of Friendship Bench. And his idea started in Zimbabwe and is now growing around the world, over 12 countries, and growing very quickly. A new partnership was announced today with Manulife, actually. I'll play a quick video to show his work. Okay.
was one of my clients who had been under my care for just over 3 years during my formative years of working as a psychiatrist. And at a time when I thought Erica was doing well, I got this call from Erica's mother to tell me that Erica had taken her own life. The reason why Erica's mother couldn't come to the hospital with Erica was because Erica and her parents didn't have the $10 bus fare to get onto a bus to come to the hospital. And so I immediately started thinking, there has to be a way of taking mental health to the community. I didn't know what it was going to be, but that was really the beginning of the work that I do. In Zimbabwe, we have on average one psychiatrist for every 1.5 million people. After the tragedy of Erica, I came across these amazing grandmothers in a community close to the hospital where I worked. And I realized they are the custodians of the local culture, and they could very well be the entry point to evidence-based care in communities across the country. The 14 grandmothers were the first people I opened up to about Erica's death. The first thing that they did was pray for me. They broke into this soothing, melodic Shona song, which led me to just break down in tears. And after that, there was just silence. That actually resulted in me being able to talk freely about Erica's death. My understanding of psychiatry was really based on the education that I had received as a psychiatrist. The grandmothers, they changed the way I think about therapy. Friendship Bench is a brief psychological therapy delivered by trained community grandmothers from wooden park benches across Zimbabwe and beyond. I started off with 14 grandmothers who I trained in the basics of cognitive behavioral therapy. How do you use your eyes when you're engaging another person on the bench? How do you use silence? It's not about identifying a person's diagnosis. In essence, the actual therapy is really about getting people to talk. Now, in Zimbabwe alone, we have over 2,000 grandmothers. The grandmothers always say this work gives them that sense of belonging and gives them a sense of purpose in their communities. Grandmothers who are involved with Friendship Bench are less likely to suffer from non-communicable diseases such as hypertension and diabetes. And they also have a very low rate of what we call common mental disorders. My ultimate vision is to scale Friendship Bench through our scale strategy, which we call the Friendship Bench in a Box, a DIY toolkit which brings together all the lessons that we have acquired. We've just done that in Washington, D.C. We're about to do the same in New Orleans. We found that the grandmas in Washington, D.C. have the same characteristics as the grandmas in Zimbabwe. But I would say that the most important thing about the work we do on the Friendship Bench is really creating that space for people to tell their stories. Because over the years, we've realized that when people begin to talk, that's when healing begins. My name is Dixon Chibanda. This is my brief but spectacular take on healing communities through stories.
So this is one of our Ashoka Fellows, and let me get out of here. One sec. Oh, sorry. Okay. So Dixon Shabanda is great example of an Ashoka Fellow. There are 4,000 of them like this. He is quite spectacular and is working with partners all over to localize the idea and have a friendship bench, as he said, in every community. So volunteering, how we, Ashoka, there's two paths really. So there's Ashoka volunteering with Ashoka directly, and we used the LinkedIn volunteer marketplace to post available volunteer roles. So that's one path, but then the path to working with fellows is the second. And so really there is a whole world depending on your interest area. And so obviously with Dixon, that is mental health, bringing, community health models into the world and localizing that and finding ways to support his spread model. But there are so many different fellows across many countries. And my own experience of being a volunteer as well, I found, my passion a decade ago was working with young girls on, emotional skills and using movement and sport as a way to develop confidence and social emotional skills. So I found an Ashoka fellow, Molly Barker. Her organization is Girls on the Run, and it's local in my community here in Northern Virginia. So I reached out to the leader here, and I became a volunteer coach for a couple seasons, and it was incredibly meaningful. And I still see the girls that I coach now. They're going off to college in my community when I go to the coffee shop or to get lunch. They're working at different places that I go with my own children now. So it's quite powerful to have that local experience and also global, right? There's kind of different levels that you can work at depending on how you want to contribute. And so it's not about reinventing, it's just redirecting skills towards this community of change makers. And those skills are needed. I mean, I won't go through each of these, but this gives you kind of a colorful example of what types of skills are needed, and then a clear path that I put here in the slide. So going online and connecting with our directory, right? You can do like key search words based on what you're interested in, whether that is climate, mental health, education models, and then identifying some Ashoka Fellow organizations. We always have the link to their organization on their profile on our website, and then reaching out directly. And we, of course, have a volunteer head of volunteering at Ashoka, and I have shared her information with Heather and the team so that any questions from us and how we can be helpful. Her name is Beth Inabit, but there's many ways to be involved. Whether my own experience was doing the coaching, but I mean, fundraising is always so folks that have the revenue background. And so I'll stop there. I think I am at time.
Yes. Thank you, Samara. Thank you. Yeah, for sharing that overview with us. And again, encourage people, any questions you have, put them in the chat and we will come back to those. So thank you for that. And I realize when you have your slides up, you probably can't see my 2-minute warning. So we'll ask people to monitor. So thank you for Samara for that overview of Ashoka. And let's go to Melissa Davis at Make-A-Wish.
All right. Thank you so much, Heather. All right. So I am Melissa Davis. I'm our Senior Manager of Volunteer Engagement here at Make-A-Wish, Illinois, but today I'm representing Make-A-Wish as a whole, both across the United States as well as internationally across the globe. And so across all of these organizations, the mission is consistent, and that is together we create life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. And I do want to pause, as Heather kind of alluded to earlier in my intro, just to clarify, there is a common misconception that Make-A-Wish is only for terminally ill children, and that is not true. So children ages 2.5 to 18 with a qualifying condition can receive a wish, and the condition does not need to be terminal. It just needs to be critical. And so that we have a medical advisory council who is regularly updating based on medical advancements and whatnot, that list of qualifying conditions. But do want to clarify that right off the bat, because a large portion of our Make-A-Wish recipients do go on to beat their illnesses and become happy, healthy adults. All right, so with that, I do want to highlight the Make-A-Wish impact across the globe. So Make-A-Wish, just like Ashoka, was founded in 1980 as well. And since then, we have granted more than 650,000 wishes across the globe. And so in just this past year, there were 33,000 wishes granted. And it takes a lot of support, and most of that support does not come from staff. We have a huge volunteer base that is powering this mission and bringing this hope and joy to children. And that is more than 27,000 volunteers across the globe who are helping us each year. And so that, when I say across the globe, we do have a presence in nearly 50 countries and territories on 6 continents. So in all likelihood, there is a chapter or international affiliate near you. And as we talk about then what that chapter or affiliate might be able to offer you as far as volunteer opportunities, it does vary by individual chapter or affiliate, but some of the common volunteer roles include wish granting, fundraising or event support, as well as outreach and community engagement. So I'm going to highlight these just briefly. And so our wish granting volunteers are really our boots on the ground, working directly with wish children and their families to help discover their most heartfelt wish. So what is it? Anything in the world. We have 5 key wish types. I wish to be, I wish to meet, I wish to go, I wish to have. And so there are many different opportunities that can fall within each of those buckets. So our volunteers are tasked with really helping the child discover on their own and empowering them to do so what would bring them the most joy during this time where it is so critical for them to have that. They also help build that hope and anticipation leading up to their wish, as well as celebrate their wish. And then fundraising and event support could look different. So it could be a volunteer or a group of volunteers hosting their own event in support of Make-A-Wish, or they could be jumping on board with a chapter or affiliate's gala or walk in support of those efforts in a specific role defined by the organization. We also then have volunteers promoting awareness of the brand, the mission, the need for local community support and volunteers, promoting it across medical groups so that folks are aware and can identify when this would be something that would benefit a child throughout their medical journey. And so all of these roles are very critical as far as identifying folks that are eligible for a wish, as well as making those wishes happen, both financially as well as granting them and determining the details of them. Each chapter or affiliate may also have additional roles, whether they are, virtual, or maybe you're translating documents into different common languages to support wish families, or going into the office to help with some mailings of goodie bags or things like that. So it will vary by your local chapter or affiliate, but that will be something that I will talk about in next steps. Before we get there, I do want you to be able to hear and see some volunteers in action and hear about their experience directly from them. So here we go.
Make-A-Wish has really impacted me in many ways. First of all, I've met the most incredible families.
Honestly, volunteering itself is a very beautiful thing. If you are done leading a normal life and you want to lead a life full of excitement, happiness, join Make-A-Wish.
Sign up right away. I think it changed me in so many ways, but for good. It's a great opportunity to give back and to find friends like Amalia and Nat.
Make-A-Wish es feliz, alegría para los niños, como para mi hijo y para otros niños que han pasado por esto.
Make-A-Wish is about creating one smile at a time.
Los voluntarios son unas personas increíbles y maravillosas.
Make-A-Wish volunteers are the heart of the organization.
Make-A-Wish is
Felicidad, alegría, amor.
Which kids are kind on you?
And so that is just a brief glimpse predominantly into what our wish granting roles could look like, but certainly speaks to the impact that all of our volunteers lead to, which is that joy that this is bringing children and their families in some of the most dark times. And so to take the next step, the first thing you need to do is find your local chapter or affiliate. And so here are the sites, and hopefully Heather will be able to send out the links following this, but wish.org/local-chapters for anyone in the United States to identify where your local chapter is, and worldwish.org/about-us/around-the-world. And that will point you directly to the various countries and territories where there is an organization near you. And so from there, most of the websites are structured the same, where you would find ways to support or help us and then volunteer under that. And you'll be able to see specifics about the roles, the volunteer roles that are offered within that local chapter affiliate. And likely you'll be able to see a direct contact there. If you have any issues identifying your local organization or finding the volunteer roles, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. And just as a call to action, wanting to reach every eligible child, it doesn't mean, it means a lot, but to be able to quantify that and understand how many eligible children there are throughout the world, and a child becomes eligible to receive a wish somewhere in the world every 25 seconds. So there is a huge need for volunteer support, for donor support, for event support. And so there's definitely a place for you here if you are interested. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank
I'd
you.
like to just jump in for a second. I've had the pleasure of working with Melissa and the honor of being part of Make-A-Wish in Illinois for almost the last 10 years. And I used to interview people for them. And it was a surprise to me. But I kind of thought the same thing when I went in there, that this is going to be really sad. It's not, and it was my experience that more than 85% of the kids get better. And so it's not the gloom and doom that you might think. And it was much more joyous. And it was so fun to plan parties, to plan galas, to plan events. I can't tell you how many friends I made through Wish kids and families, but also through other volunteers. And so I just got to say, it's really rewarding as someone that's a dad and used to love throwing birthday parties for my kids. It's like, this is like doing it on steroids. So I just throw that out there.
And thank you, Rick, so much. Thank you, Melissa, so much for the presentation, which is incredibly touching. I can feel the emotion coming up. And thank you, Rick, and was going to share with the community that you're someone people can reach out to gain, that firsthand insight into what it's like to volunteer for Make-A-Wish. And I did want to reiterate, it came up in the chat, and Deb and I responded. We will be sharing with you the websites and the contact details for all the organizations that you're hearing speak today. So rest assured that you will get all of that information. So thank you so much, Melissa. And let's go to Krista Pauly at Wavemakers. And we can't hear you, Krista. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm just trying to make sure as I share this that I share it with video optimized. Perfect. Okay. There we go. Hopefully that works. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Krista Pauly, and I am the co-founder of Wavemakers. I have the privilege already of having worked with a few of you, as Deb shared. Both Barry and Deb have been helping us out with interview prep for some of our students. Allison Hewitt, who is a Next 50 member, is actually one of our faculty members. And Samara, I will share, I went and counted. We actually have 10 Ashoka fellows associated with the program, and we're associated with 2 Changemaker campuses. So you'll probably see a little bit of the Ashoka flow in through this. And that's why I wanted to go after you to show is this is kind of an example of how we do create that next generation of change makers. So for the folks on the line, you've spent a career learning how work actually gets done. The judgment, the reading a room, knowing which questions to ask and when. That know-how is one thing that students can't get from a classroom. And it doesn't matter what field you built it in. It's the thing that I'm going to ask you for today. Now, here's the gap. Most students leave school knowing the what of their field, but not the how of work, and without the professional networks that open doors. And the students who need both of these the most are often the ones who are least able to reach them. Wavemakers was built to close that gap. It's Canada's first national work integrated learning program that is free, open to every post-secondary student in the country, and it is built with access, equity, and belonging at the core. We are funded by the Government of Canada, and here's how it works. We bring students together in a virtual campus for 9 sessions. It's a 9-session program, and they are synchronous. So they do this live and with their mentors. Half of the sessions are TEDx-style talks that build specific future-proof or soft skills, as they used to be known, that we organize the whole program around. The other half puts students in small groups with industry mentors, someone like you, to help build a project that is anchored in the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. They finish the project by giving a 5-minute pitch-style presentation about their world-changing ideas. And it doesn't end when the program does. When a student is ready for what's next, we make a warm handoff to a partner who fits with their direction. So we're an on-ramp for a whole ecosystem for them. And this is really critical, we've learned, for the future success of students. Now, I want to share with you, and hopefully this works, a very quick tour of what the campus looks like, because I know it's probably a little hard to imagine. So here's where I hope the sound works.
Your world is about to get bigger. Welcome to Wavemakers, your virtual reality campus. This first of its kind national work integrated learning program is for all Canadian post-secondary students. You can access your virtual world anytime, anywhere. You'll experience virtual technology to connect you with world-class experts and employer networks. In this 8-session program, you will learn from industry leaders about the capabilities and mindsets needed to thrive in the future of work. As a Wavemaker student, you'll go through 4 working group sessions and 4 learning sessions. In your working group sessions, you'll work directly with an industry mentor in a small team of fellow Wavemakers on a real-world work challenge. In your learning sessions, you'll learn from world-class speakers and subject matter experts to get hands-on experience and practice the skills you're going to need to succeed in the workplace of the future. Wavemakers is free. As a graduate, you will stand out to future employers with your earned digital credentials that will help build your LinkedIn profile and resume. You can showcase your skills in a virtual career fair where you will connect with employers from dozens of industries across Canada to learn more about career paths and the jobs that are available today. Join Wavemakers and wave hello to your future.
So I will share that we have partnerships currently with 150 different employer organizations here in Canada and over 100 post-secondary institutions, and we are constantly growing. So let me give you a picture of who you would be supporting. These are capable, ambitious students, first-generation students, newcomers, students in rural and remote communities, students who are the first in their family to even picture a career like the one that you've had. What they're missing isn't talent, it's a way in. And when you mentor here, you're not fixing anyone. You're giving capable students the one thing they happen to not be born with, which is the connection to someone who's done it. This is the part that you would be closest to. The project is real, so the practice is real. And that's where they build those 10 capabilities, by doing work rather than rehearsing it. You're not required to teach the content, and you don't need to know their subject. The structure handles that. What you bring is the how. So, is this for you? If you've led people and you like asking better questions instead of handing over the answer, you already have what it takes. The best mentors do 3 things. They ask rather than tell, they make space for someone to think, and they have a career's worth of judgment about how work actually works, which is exactly what these students need to really get to sit who they're next to and to understand what that next step would be. None of this is about your industry. You're not here to teach your sector. You're here to show them how work works. And that is transferable across any field. And these relationships last. So I'll give you an example. One of our mentors in one of our earliest cohorts worked for a large AI organization. And she was so impressed with one of her students that she actually hired the student into her organization. And when that mentor actually moved jobs into one of our largest financial institutions, she took the student along with her. And that shows that these can actually be long-term experiences. The other student experience I love talking about is we had a young woman who is a person with a disability who was joining us from a rural and remote community here in Canada. And because of the way our platform works, because people show up as avatars, a lot of the assumptions that people would have made about her as a person with a disability, she wasn't subject to. And so at the end of the program, after she walked through that career fair that I showed you, she came back to me and she said, Krista, for the first time in my life, I feel seen for my ability and not my disability. And that is what you have the opportunity to be part of. So what does the actual commitment look like? As I said, it's 9 sessions, but you're only needed for 4. That's where your small team builds your project. And we ask you to come in as well at the end for that pitch session. So you get to see what it looks like. Of course, you're invited to all of the sessions, but it's a pretty tight commitment. And again, it's about 16 hours of commitment, and you can do it at home in your pajamas or wherever you happen to be in the world. It's fully virtual. There's no special equipment required. There's nothing to learn. And you got on this Zoom call, so I know that you're actually able to use this platform. I promise you, it is super easy. Now, our students are across Canada, but our mentors don't need to be. You do not need to be a Canadian or in Canada to be a mentor. Your skills, no matter where you are incredibly valuable to these students. Every one of you on this call and within this community has something that a student can't get any other way, which is a real sense of how work works and how that has been earned over a career. Mentoring with Wavemakers also gets you something back. You get a front row seat to how this generation thinks. You sharpen the questions you ask, and you build real relationships with people that you wouldn't otherwise have the chance to meet. And the best mentors tell us that they learn as much from the students as they share with the students. So this is my ask. Be one of the people who says yes. Drop me a line, and I know that we're going to have the shared communications. And I would love to share more and to hopefully welcome a number of community members to come and be Wavemakers mentors. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Krista, so much. Tons of, as you can all hear, tons of inspiring opportunities here for those inclined. So thank you for sharing that with us. Let's go to ENGin, to Erin Hogan. I'm conscious of our time, and it's all tremendous insight that you're sharing. So I'll ask you to try and keep to the time limit if you can. And Erin, we'd love to hear about ENGin from you.
Thanks so much, Heather. Thanks everyone for inviting me to speak. Thank you especially Michael for connecting me to What's Next 50. Michael is one of our current volunteers. My name's Erin. I'm the volunteer recruitment manager on staff at ENGin. We're a US and Ukraine-based organization. I myself am based in Atlanta, Georgia. What I most want to share with you today is the volunteer opportunity that ENGin presents, and I'll kind of explain what we do through that lens. ENGin connects English speakers around the world to English learners in Ukraine for weekly video chat conversations. It's a flexible commitment, 1 hour per week, whatever time you choose, for a minimum of 12 weeks, though you are welcome to stay longer, and many do. And the focus is purely conversational fluency, so just having a conversation with someone for 1 hour a week. In the 6 years we've been operating, we've connected over 30,000 volunteers with Ukrainians for conversation practice and cultural exchange. Our staff is based in the US and in Ukraine and available to support you throughout your journey as a volunteer. We maintain a library of resources, all kinds of things to keep you kind of engaged and also supported as a participant in our program. Really, what this scale demonstrates about us, we've only been around for 6 years and we've managed to impact we actually just changed our numbers this morning, so over 32,000 volunteers. What this really shows about us is the way that the conversations we facilitate have really turned into something more. Many of our participants become friends. They share life moments, big and small, with each other. Increased confidence speaking English turns into job opportunities and new experiences for our learners. And so, founded on facilitating conversational fluency and trying to close this gap in fluency in Ukraine, we've really grown into a place of shared connection and shared growth. You may be thinking, I've never really heard of something like this. Is it really for me? Let me reassure you, yes, it absolutely is. ENGin has been built on needing no prior experience. And because we serve learners in Ukraine of various ages, interests, and backgrounds, we're always in need of volunteers from a similar diversity of experiences. You don't need to have experience with ESL learners. You don't need to know Ukrainian or even really anything about Ukraine. You don't have to have worked as a mentor in the past. Again, the key to our mission is really very simple, and that is the power of a conversation. I can speak a little bit to my own experience. I am on staff at ENGin, but something I love is that everyone on our staff participates either as a learner or as a volunteer. I've been meeting with my learner, oh my gosh, for 18 months now. Every week on Wednesday, we talk for an hour. She's grown to be a real, true friend to me, and I know that this experience is something that a lot of our volunteers share. So I can speak very highly to the power of this program, and I also can speak very highly about the power of my team. The impact that we have really is on both the volunteers and on our learners. So this is a two-way street. We don't see ourselves as just benefiting one group. And if you talk to volunteers in our community, you'll hear them echo the same thing. I really hope you join us. We are always, always, always looking for new volunteers. Our support team, info@enginprogram.org, is the best contact for you to reach out to if you have any questions about ENGin in general. But if you have anything you want to share with me or just questions you have for me about how we connect to volunteers, how we could connect to more volunteers, my inbox is also always open to you. I'll keep it quick since I know we're running short. That's all from me. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Erin, so much. And I know that Michael Fleece, who's also a What's Nexter, is involved with ENGin, and as with all the organizations, has had a wonderful experience that he can share personally with those interested in hearing from the volunteer side as well. So in the interest of time, I'd love to thank you so much, Erin. I'd love to hear from Ariel at the Legacy Project, and then we will move to questions and just help tie this all together for you.
Yeah, thank you, Heather. And I really enjoyed listening to all the other presentations because there's so much overlap between all of our work, and it seems like a ripe opportunity for more collaboration as well. So thank you for bringing us all together. So my name's Ariel. I am the co-founder of the Legacy Project. I'm going to share a little bit about the work we do, and then at a high level, and then about a specific program that we launched this past year called the Changemakers Fellowship, which I've also heard a few times throughout this call, which I love, that theme of change making. So the Legacy Project, we are a primarily US-based national nonprofit. We connect younger and older adults for multi-generational friendship and storytelling. This fall, we will have 75 chapters across the United States. Our primary goals, first and foremost, is to bring social connectedness for both our younger and older adults. Much of this was sparked, we officially launched as a nonprofit in 2023 after the US Surgeon General declared social isolation and loneliness as a US epidemic that deserves attention. We also seek to combat ageist viewpoints through our work to change the narrative of aging from one that is negative to one that is positive and fruitful, and uplifts intergenerational connectivity. And in that vein, we seek to inspire continued co-generational collaboration far beyond just our own 9-month programming for lasting friendships between the younger and older adults that we pair, but also a desire amongst our younger adults to pursue careers in the field of aging, and for older adults to continue working with youngers in their own community for continued change. Our normal bread and butter model through the Legacy Project is a 9-month structured program split in half between an interview section and a narrative building program, all of which leads to a published book at the end filled with stories that are co-created and co-written by our younger and older pairs and share pieces in a very bi-directional way about each of their life stories and the connections that they came about to finding by being a part of this program. I'm going to give a very high level. Oh, before we get there, I think it's important to always understand the why. So this is myself and my two co-founders when we were younger, with older adults in our own lives who we had a very close connectivity to, and we did not ask about their life stories. And so when we all met our first year of college, and that was the kickoff to what became the Legacy Project and what has expanded to where we are today. So I'm going to give a little bit of a preview as to the Intergenerational Changemakers Fellowship, which is something that we're hoping to continue in collaboration with What's Next 50 in the coming year. So this was a fellowship that we launched as an extension to our current model with support from funding from the Eisner Foundation. So how the Changemaker Fellowship worked is we chose 6 hub regions across the United States and 40 fellows, 20 youngers, 20 olders, they were a national cohort, and yet we paired them all with individuals that were local into their communities so they could meet in person and have in-person engagement and connection for their civic engagement project. They all participated. It wrapped up this past month, and they all participated in a 4-month storytelling exchange, which led to the creation of a book that will be published this upcoming summer, as well as they all launched civic engagement projects in their community based on shared interests that they found throughout the storytelling process. This was a high level of the timeline by which we went by with the November kickoff, and now we're wrapping it up with the civic engagement projects, which just came to an end, and a report that will be coming out this summer discussing how intergenerational civic action can be the key for civic change in communities across the country and globe. Here's a few photos from our first cohort experience with the Changemakers. I always think it's nice to bring, real faces and real stories with the projects that they pursued. What was really insightful for me is that we provided a ton of leeway and financial resources, importantly, to be able to pursue their civic engagement projects. And the youngers and olders that were part of the cohort came up with such diverse opportunities based on their own shared interests that they discovered through their storytelling process. And so the report is coming out this fall, and I'm sure I'll share it with Heather and team, and we can share it out to this cohort as well to review. And something that I'm really looking forward to is hopefully this year, we are Legacy Project in partnership with What's Next 50 is going to be seeking continued funding to be able to expand this Changemakers Fellowship, both within the New York City region as well as Toronto. So going a little bit global, which will be exciting. And we hope to continue this opportunity for members of the What's Next 50 and the Legacy Project communities, given how much value we've seen it can bring. So would love for you to stay connected. I will say if you are interested in getting involved with the Legacy Project more broadly, there's many opportunities beyond just the Changemakers Fellowship. Going off of what my prior presenters have said, if there's interest in supporting using some of the skills from your career, whether that's supporting some of the fundraising function or supporting launching a chapter in your own community. We have younger and older adults who launch chapters within their own communities, as long as it's within organizational settings. So in libraries, in local YMCAs and community-based centers, you can launch a Legacy Project chapter in your own community. We will help find students who are interested in getting involved as well. So without further ado, would love to stay connected. Feel free to reach out to me and find ways for you to plug in and stay tuned for more information, hopefully, for the Changemakers Fellowship collaboration that we hope to launch this upcoming year. And I'm going to drop a video in the chat too, if you're interested in watching it later.
Wonderful. And I wonder if we're best to send that out to people along with the contact details and the website, just so we can focus on questions and things like that for now, if that's okay with you, Ariel. That might be a good way. And so I want to thank you, Ariel, and thank all of you for again such inspiring opportunities to make a meaningful impact. And I do want to remind sort of all of us that are already part of the What's Next 50 community and those who are joining this community today for the first time that What's Next 50 has three key pillars that it focuses on. The opportunity for learning, of which sessions like this obviously help support, the opportunity for connection, of which being part of this community and engaging with this community really supports, and the opportunity for engagement. And really the piece around engagement is about these opportunities to make a meaningful impact in the world. And it is tremendous to hear sort of the range of ways that people can do that, that play to different skills, different interests, different time commitments, all of those good things. So I'm so grateful and appreciative to our panel for giving us the sense of what's possible in this engage realm. And so what I'd love to do now is open it up for questions. I know there were a couple of questions in the chat, so we can start with those. And if anyone would like to raise their hand and ask their question, they're welcome to do that. I will just try and keep us on track with time. So we, we'll spend maybe 10 minutes in questions, and then we want to give you the opportunity to have some discussion in small groups. And so let me start with the questions that came up in the chat. I know there was one question about whether the needs are changing, and I think that was maybe in reference to what Ashoka shared about the work that they're doing in terms of social innovation and all of that. But maybe that's a question I can throw out to all of our presenters as to whether you see sort of the needs that you're looking to meet in the world changing. And so I'd ask if you can just be kind of brief in your response, just in the interest of time. So of our panelists, maybe you can put up a hand if you'd like to take a first kick at whether needs are changing from your perspective in terms of what you're meeting in the world. So looking to, yeah, Samara.
I think given all of, yes, because the context is changing. So the answer simply is yes. And one that I'll highlight that comes top of mind when you framed it that way is that as we increasingly are experiencing polarization and, social, not fragmentation, and a lack of trust, a lack of connection to one another. And now with AI, climate change, with demographic shifts, those are kind of the three big trends that I always lay out. The importance is that we have each other, that we have our community so empathy and the ability to have agency and say, I can solve problems. So I think that is becoming even more critical, and the ability to reach out and step outside of kind of our own life to be involved in creating solutions is, for me, the urgent, and the skills that have that are very, human. They are the social skills, the social emotional. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, thank you, Samara, very much. Points right back to our Connect pillar, so thank you for that. And maybe I can hear just from one more of the panelists if you wanted to speak to what you see in terms of needs changing. So yeah, Erin, over to you.
Yeah, ENGin has a bit of a unique situation in this case. Obviously, we are operating under the conditions of war. Our team is based in Ukraine. All of our participants who we are serving are almost all based in Ukraine. So we were founded before the full-scale invasion began, and our needs have certainly changed in terms of wanting to bring professional development to Ukrainians who don't have the opportunity to practice conversational English. But I would argue that the sort of connection and empathy point, and similar to what Samara is saying, the feeling that people are having of wanting to be a little more connected to each other, wanting to be able to make a direct impact in someone's life across borders, has only grown as the conflict has kind of magnified that fragmentation and magnified the way that people feel distant from each other. So I would also say that we have seen an increase in people kind of wanting to highlight connection and empathy and just building a bit of shared space and shared experience as really what brings them to something like ENGin, rather than kind of the like put your skills to good use kind of messaging that we maybe saw be a little more popular in the past few years.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you for making that connection for us, Erin. And yeah, really highlighting again that need for kind of those really human skills. And I see that Krista from Wavemakers also put in the chat that, young people are dealing with, very difficult times right now and feeling also very isolated and disconnected. And so, clearly program like Wavemakers and, the others that have been highlighted provide opportunities to support those needs. And I see that Ariel, is also talking about that meaningful connection and spoke to that social isolation piece that the Legacy Project and the fellowship, the Changemakers Fellowship, really addresses specifically. So thank you all for that. One question I'd love to ask, and I'm trying to sort of look in the chat to see if there are other questions that have come up. It doesn't look like they have. Actually, before I throw one out, I'll just invite people once more. If someone has a specific question and they want to raise their hand and ask it or put it in the chat, we very much welcome your questions. And I'd love to know where those kind of in the 50 plus range add the most value. I know that, Krista from Wavemakers, you spoke specifically to the benefit of experience, those of us that have been in the workforce, for just a while, the things we've had the chance to learn that we sort of take for granted. And I'd be interested to hear from others. I know, Erin, you spoke a little bit about matching kind of people perhaps at similar stages, but perhaps not. Would love to hear any thoughts from the panelists on, where you see those in the 50 plus range, kind of adding perhaps specific or unique value. I don't know if any of our panelists would like to take that one. Yeah, Samara, we'll go back to you.
I'm going to wait a minute. Does anybody else want to jump in? Just as I have spoken.
So maybe we'll start with Ariel and then we'll loop back to you. How about that?
Thanks, Samara. I think for the Legacy Project, as we're an inherently intergenerational program, the value of those who are over 50 plus is critical to the functioning of our overall organization. We would be the whole mission of the work that we do is to bridge generational divides through this connectivity between younger and older adults. And specifically as it relates to the change makers, we're wrapping up these interview processes. And one of the questions that I ask everyone is, for younger and older adults, what do you see as the value add of an intergenerational approach to community change? And everyone has said that it's opened their perspectives to being able to see new ways of pursuing change and also understanding what prior efforts have looked like. And I think that perspective would be missing if we didn't have that intergenerational approach. And so that, this is really important for the work that we do at TLP. And so grateful to be able to connect with you all here today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ariel. And Samara, did you want to interject as well?
I agree with what Ariel is saying, and would just add that the time and experience, whether that experience is through work or caregiving responsibilities or mentoring experiences, all the different ways that we contribute in society to our communities, to our families, all of that over time creates this enormous wealth and asset. That's how I often frame it. This is an asset for society. And so we need we need everyone to be coming together to solve the problems. And I think that that is the beauty of this multi-generational moment that we're living in, and what Ariel is saying of people coming, like reaching across borders, or whether that border is age or country, it doesn't matter, but to solve problems and have a sense of deep purpose and connection to our fellow humans. And I think that that is, we need everyone. So
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks, Samara. So let's hear quickly from Erin, and then we're going to get organized for breakout groups in a second. But Erin, yeah, would love to hear your input as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly share the thought that I was having of something that comes up a lot at ENGin is increasing confidence. And we do match people this is a peer-to-peer program, so we do our best to match people around the same age. We do have many intergenerational relationships being built through ENGin, but it really is important, especially for folks who are older and coming to a space where they're maybe not confident in their English or whatever skill it is that they're kind of coming to one of these organizations with, and having someone who is the same age and has seen as much life as them, had as much experience, give them the sort of permission to be a learner and to continue learning, and just affirm that it's totally okay to not be fluent in English at any age and that you can continue to learn at any age. That's something that you can hear from people who aren't in your peer group, but it resonates a lot more from people who are experiencing similar things. So we really appreciate having a range of ages in our volunteer program.
Wonderful, Erin. Thank you for sharing that and for the valuable perspective on yeah the importance of sort of different lenses. And I mean, I also see in the chat how much all of you as organizations have increasing needs. And so I hear that that's changing for all of you, that the demand sort of continues to increase as you do great work in the world and need more people to support that great work in the world. So appreciate that. Lots of questions I could ask. People who know me well know I never run out of them, but in the interest of giving people the opportunity for discussion, I would like to send you off into brief breakout groups. Maybe we can spend 10 minutes in the breakout groups, and there's two quick key questions we'd like you to talk about. And those are, what have you learned today about your own giving back interests? So what has this stimulated or stirred up for you that you might be interested in learning more about or pursuing? And what might some next steps be that you would like to think about taking or feel ready to take? So we'd like to give you just 10 minutes in groups of 3 or 4, depending what our numbers allow for, to have some brief discussion about that. Certainly I can speak as a What's Next 50 member. I've met wonderful people in those breakout rooms, had the opportunity for really valuable discussions, and it's led me to start to nurture relationships with some people who I already know. So I think there's tremendous value in it for those willing to engage. So once we're ready to send you off, I think Colleen will give me the go ahead, and we will do that. And then after that, we'll come back. A couple of our presenters are able to stay, so we'll have the opportunity to bring what you learned back to the broader group, and then let you get on with your day. Thank you, Colleen.
All right, here we go. We are ready to go. I'm going to be opening the rooms now, and I will post the question.
Well, welcome back, everyone. I know we often, when we go into breakout groups, often some are more inspired to stay for the discussion than others, and that's okay. We're happy that people get whatever value is most meaningful for them out of these sessions. Colleen was going to do just another quick poll with a small group that is left here to just get a gauge of, based on everything you've heard so far, how inspired are you to take the next steps towards giving back? So I appreciate people weighing in on that. We'll give that just maybe another 20 seconds or so, because we've got a smaller group to weigh in, but it certainly looks like people, as a result of this session, feel like perhaps even better equipped to take some action or gear themselves up to do so, which is great. So I think that gives us a good sense, and we can probably end that. Colleen, thank you. And thank you guys for weighing in. And so would love to just spend a few minutes hearing what came out of the discussion groups, what your takeaways were. Would really welcome the chance to hear from people what you're taking away and what you discussed. So is there a group that would like to share or kick us off? And there's just few enough of people now that if someone just wants to put their hand up, I will spot you. Can someone share? Rick, all right, let's hear from you.
Phyllis and I had a great talk, and we were talking about both of us have kind of an international family tree and the importance of sharing that. So it was down the international or intergenerational communication, but also, telling your story, and I think we both kind of grew up taking that for granted. I had four different ethnicities in my grandparents, and now I kick myself that I didn't ask more questions or write more things down. And so the projects that key on that, I think, really resonated with me and with her. And we also decided we're best friends and we're going to be talking together forever. So that was nice too.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, Rick. I appreciate the lens and the commonality and the budding friendship. So, um, other takeaways that people want to share, other sort of things that you learned, next steps that you talked about, questions that are bubbling up for you as a result of what you heard today?
Well, I mean, I already shared a little bit, but I'm thinking of people that I'm going to reach out to separately to recommend they look up some of these organizations and become part of them. I already sent information about ENGin to my oldest daughter because I think it would be a good thing for her to do. And thought of a couple of people who would be good potential for Wavemakers. So, there's some thoughts there as well as some things that I could be doing differently. So thank you. I am really happy that we were able to do this as part of the What's Next 50 platform and that we were able to bring some opportunities to our community.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy, for
Oh,
sharing. And I hear you
Phyllis
missed
has a
opportunities.
hand up.
Yeah. I was going to go to her next. So yeah, Phyllis, would love to hear from you.
I just wanted to say thank you for putting this presentation on today. It was completely awesome. I think of all of the groups, there was something about each one of them that appealed to me. But I find the Legacy Project, the Legacy Project I found really interesting, but I was thrilled to hear that there may possibly be a link with What's Next, that we can work together on that. Amazing presentation. It was so interesting. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. And Phyllis, I know as a very experienced volunteer who is very engaged doing that work in the world, especially meaningful to hear that from you. So thank you. Yeah. Any final comments before I hand it back to Colleen to close us off? And yeah, we'll say again to Melissa and Krista who stayed with us, just so grateful for all that you've given us in being here with us today. So thank you. Yeah. And I see Rick's applause. So if there's no final comments, and the thank you from Deb, and obviously a great team that brought all of this together behind the scenes for sure. So
Heather, you did an amazing job of moderating the session. So a huge thank you to you as well. It was a fantastic session. And what I was impressed about the most is, the engagement of your young people in this. And I'm just blown over how much wonderful work you guys are doing. So well done, Melissa, well done, Krista, and the others that are not here. So really appreciate you being here and sharing this, your experiences with our community. Thank you again.
All right, I have put a link to a survey in the chat, so we would love your feedback on the session today. We've heard a lot of it, so that's wonderful, and we will be sending out some information about how to get in touch with these folks and get more information for these different opportunities. Other than that, I think unless there's anything else, speak now or forever hold your peace. Then I will just say what a wonderful way to start or to get through the middle of our day, and please enjoy the rest of it and the rest of your week. Take care, everyone.